The left
Forget
hook.
I only need one too.
Okay.
Forget that too.
That's fine. All right, then we both got it. We both got it.
Like, come on, bro.
I can't hear you.
The world of boxing was completely shaken up after a press conference ahead of the highly anticipated rematch between Gervonta "Tank" Davis and Ryan Garcia. This press event, which was already set to be explosive, took an unexpected turn when Ryan Garcia dropped a bombshell revelation that left everyone stunned. It wasn't the usual pre-fight trash talk or the typical tension that gets the fans buzzing. This was something much more personal. Ryan revealed, to the shock of everyone, that Tank had been having an affair with none other than Floyd Mayweather's daughter. As if that wasn't enough to send shockwaves through the room, things escalated even further behind the scenes when Tank reportedly attacked Ryan in a fit of rage. What began as a simple promotional press conference quickly turned into an intensely personal battle, one that would captivate fans and the media alike. The press conference for the rematch between Tank and Ryan had already been highly anticipated, especially after the chaos that surrounded their first fight. Their initial clash was filled with heavy trash talk and fierce promises to knock each other out, but no one could have predicted the level of madness that would unfold during this press event. Fans and media were gathered, waiting for the fighters to face off, but things were already tense long before the fighters took the stage. Ryan Garcia, who had a reputation for being outspoken, was among the first to make a statement. "Thanks for coming, everyone. Sorry for the wait," Ryan said as he grabbed the mic. "But you know, some of us got to promote." As soon as he spoke, the energy in the room shifted. He threw a jab at Tank, claiming that Tank had kept everyone waiting for too long. Ryan's words were sharp, and Tank fired back immediately, but it was clear this press event was going to be anything but ordinary. Tank didn't mince his words either, calling Ryan out in front of everyone. "Ryan's going to get an ass whooping on April 22nd, Tank declared with his usual confidence. He mocked Ryan's appearance, calling him small and saying he looked like an ant. Tank wasn't holding back, claiming that his knockout power would eventually be too much for Ryan to handle. Ryan, not one to shy away from a challenge, fired back with equal ferocity. He mocked Tank's choice of wardrobe, pointing out that Tank had worn a purse the previous day and looked like he'd come from a rainbow. Their exchanges only grew more personal, with Tank saying he would drown Ryan in the deep waters of the ring and that Bernard Hopkins, Oscar de la Hoya, and Joe Goosen would have to pick Ryan up after he went down. Ryan, in turn, promised that all he needed was his left hook to finish Tank off, even bringing up Tank's previous knockout victories against fighters like Leo Santa Cruz to make his point. The tension was palpable, and the crowd could feel the animosity building. But things took a shocking turn when Ryan, in a stunning move, revealed Tank's alleged affair with Floyd Mayweather's daughter. "I already knew about it. Tank's been with Floyd's daughter, and that's not a secret," Ryan said, dropping the bombshell that had everyone in the room gasping. The room went silent, and all eyes turned to Tank, who stood there visibly furious. Tank didn't immediately respond, but his body language said it all. He was livid. Fans and reporters were left scrambling to process what had just been said. While the press conference itself ended without any physical altercations on stage, the drama didn't stop there. Reports began surfacing that backstage, Tank had lost his cool and physically attacked Ryan. Security had to intervene as tensions reached their breaking point. The press conference, which was supposed to be a routine promotion for the rematch, had now turned into a personal feud with much deeper stakes. It wasn't just about who would win in the ring anymore, it was about personal honor, pride, and relationships that went beyond boxing. The stakes of the rematch were already high before the press conference, but the shocking revelations and the backstage drama only raised the intensity. Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia were no strangers to trash talk and public animosity. Their first fight had already been a spectacle, with both fighters trading insults and making big promises about how the fight would unfold. Tank had ultimately come out on top in their first meeting, knocking Ryan out in a fight that many believed would define Ryan's career. But instead of fading into the background after that loss, Ryan emerged with a renewed sense of determination. In the wake of their first fight, many critics wrote Ryan off, claiming that he simply wasn't on Tank's level. But Ryan wasn't about to let that narrative define him. Since his loss to Tank, Ryan had been on a tear, racking up impressive victories and proving to the world that he had learned from his past mistakes. One of his most career-defining moments came during his fight with Devin Haney, where Ryan dominated the match and ended it with a jaw-dropping knockout that reminded everyone of his raw power and skill. In the rematch with Tank, Ryan knew he had to be better than he had been before. He wasn't the same fighter who took a knee and quit in their first encounter. He had improved his skill set and had grown more mentally and physically. Ryan was determined to show that he had leveled up, and he wasn't about to back down. He wanted his rematch at the right weight with the right conditions. "Give me my rematch and I'll beat him." "I'm better than him," Ryan declared confidently. Despite his defeat in their first fight, Ryan believed with all his heart that he could win. He had been training under the guidance of Derek James, one of the most respected trainers in the boxing world, and Ryan had been working tirelessly to bulk up, improve his defense, and refine his timing. Tank, on the other hand, wasn't about to take Ryan lightly. He knew that Ryan had grown since their last encounter, and he knew that he would need to be at his absolute best if he wanted to defend his title and solidify his legacy. Tank had been in the gym, sharpening his skills and preparing for what was bound to be one of the biggest fights of his career. Retirement was on his mind, and he knew that his time in the ring was limited. Every fight mattered more than ever, and Tank wasn't going to let anyone derail his plans. For Tank, this fight wasn't just about the title, it was about proving to the world that he was still the king of the lightweight division. With rumors swirling about his potential retirement, every bout was more important than the last. Tank wasn't going to leave the sport without securing his legacy, and the rematch with Ryan Garcia was his chance to do that. The pressure was on, and Tank knew that he couldn't afford to slip up. Ryan had been on a mission to prove himself, not only as a fighter, but as a person who had grown from the mistakes of his past. He was determined to show the world that he could beat Tank and that he was capable of being a champion in his own right. He had been working with Derek James, whose track record for training champions spoke for itself. James had helped Ryan become a more complete fighter, and Ryan was confident that his improvements would be enough to overcome Tank in the rematch. Tank, on the other hand, had a lot more at stake than just a title defense. His relationship with Floyd Mayweather, once one of the most important in his career, had become rocky in recent years. Floyd, who had been Tank's mentor and promoter, had been at the center of Tank's rise to prominence. But as Tank's success grew, so did his desire for independence. Tank no longer wanted to be seen as Mayweather's protege. He wanted to be his own man, with his own brand and his own path in boxing. This shift had caused friction between the two, leading to public disagreements and passive-aggressive shots on social media. The animosity between Tank and Floyd Mayweather had been simmering for some time, and Ryan Garcia's bombshell revelation about Tank's alleged affair with Floyd's daughter only added fuel to the fire. Floyd had once been Tank's biggest supporter, but now the two were at odds, with Tank clearly frustrated by Floyd's control over his career. This personal drama had spilled into the press conference, and it was clear that the rematch between Tank and Ryan had now become a battle of egos, pride, and personal vendettas. One of the most shocking aspects of the drama surrounding Tank Davis was his announcement that 2025 would be his final year in boxing. After years of electrifying performances in the ring, Tank had decided that it was time to retire and focus on life outside the sport. But before hanging up his gloves, Tank was determined to leave on top. He knew that his legacy would be shaped by the final chapter of his career, and he was ready to go out with a bang. Ryan, meanwhile, was hungry for redemption. He wanted to show that his first loss to Tank was an anomaly, and that he was capable of beating the man who had defeated him. He had been preparing for this moment for years, and he was ready to prove to the world that he was a changed fighter. As the fight drew closer, the rivalry between Tank and Ryan reached new heights. What had started as a simple boxing match had turned into something much more personal. The tension between the two fighters was palpable, and fans couldn't wait to see who would come out on top in this grudge match that had captured the imagination of the boxing world. The rematch wasn't just about boxing anymore, it was about pride, redemption, and legacy. For Tank, it was about proving he was still the best. For Ryan, it was about proving he had grown and could take down the man who had once knocked him out. As they prepared to step into the ring again, the world waited with bated breath to see who would claim victory in this high-stakes battle.